Today's lesson is on ratios, rate, and conversions. A unit rate is a rate with a denominator of 1. We're going to see that in our first example. A ratio compares two numbers by division. And there's three ways they write it, depending on whether it's in the mathematical equation, whether it's written in a word problem, or in a set of directions. So there's three ways you might see it. If I tell you A and B are representing numbers, so you could have like 3 to 5. You'd have numbers here and here. This is a way that it would normally write it in a word problem. Sometimes you'll see it written like this. Sometimes they'll do that in directions, or if they're talking about construction, they use those. And once you get that information to write it into the equation, you would write it as a fraction. So the first number that's listed, is the one that goes on top. A conversion factor is a ratio of two equivalent measures in different units, such as 1 foot and 12 inches. 1 foot is the same distance as 12 inches. So this would be a conversion factor. Comparing two unit rates. The unit rate, again, is when your denominator is 1. So you're shopping for t-shirts. Which store offers the best deal? We have 3 different stores, and they all sell different amounts of shirts for different prices. And you want to see where you're going to have the best deal. And the only way to do that is to figure out how much each one shirt costs. So that would be my denominator of 1. So what you want to do, you want to show your work. Store A, $25 for 2 shirts. You want to take this, and basically what's happening is you're reducing that fraction. You're trying to reduce that fraction down to 1. So you have 25 divided by 2. You want to reduce it down to 1. Well, the way that you're going to do that is actually just divide 25 divided by 2, and you get 12.5. Now we're talking about how much a shirt costs. So we want to make this look like money. $12.50 for every 1 shirt. Or if you just put shirt there is fine, because that denominator of 1 you don't have to write. So let's look at store B. Store B would be $45 for 4 shirts. So we're going to divide those numbers. You can use a calculator. And you get $11.25 for every 1 shirt. Per shirt, every 1 shirt. And then store C, we have $30 for 3 shirts. And that gives us 10, so $10 per shirt. So which store offers the best deal? The best deal is store C. It only costs $10 per shirt versus $11.25 or $12.50. Second part to this question says, if store B lowers its price to $38 for 4 shirts, does that change your answer? So store B says, okay, we're going to run a sale. We're going to get rid of that. Instead of $45 for 4 shirts, we're going to drop it down to $38 for 4 shirts. You're going to shop at our store now. Well, go ahead and divide those, and that gives you $9.50. So yeah, with that sale, this is now the best store to shop at. So that right there is unit rates, taking it down to a denominator of 1. Converting units. What is the given amount converted, that should be converted, to the named unit? So we're going to take it from minutes to hours. We're going to take it from kilograms to grams. So 345 minutes. What we're going to do is make that 345 minutes, and anytime you have a whole number, you can put it over 1. So that's how I like to do this problem. We're going to put it over 1. We're going to multiply it by those conversion factors. This is what we're going to focus on, what we're multiplying by. So we're going to multiply it. Now, if minutes is on top, minutes is going to go on the bottom here. And we're trying to change it from minutes to hours, so hours goes on top. Now let's go back and understand why we're allowed to multiply it by this random thing here. If I go back to this, 1 foot and 12 inches is exactly the same thing, right? Well, if you have 5 divided by 5, it equals 1. If you have 20 divided by 20, it equals 1. If you have x divided by x, it equals 1. Anytime you have the same thing on top and bottom, it always equals 1. Well, this is really the same thing. They're the same length. So that actually is 1. Now, we've already learned that we can multiply anything by 1, and it doesn't change its value. We're just changing how it looks, how it appears. But the value of it, the distance or the time frame, that's all staying the same. So what is an equal thing? 1 hour is 60 minutes. Well, just like those numbers on top and bottom, they cancel out. Same as these words. Minutes and minutes cancel out. You're left with 345 hours, 60, no words here. And what you're going to do is divide those two numbers. And when you divide them, you get 5.75 hours. So 5.75 hours is the same as 345 minutes. 25 kilograms, so we're going to make that 25 kilograms over 1. Multiply that to another fraction. Since kilograms is on top, kilograms goes on the bottom, and grams goes on top. The conversion of kilograms and grams, there's 1,000 grams for every 1 kilogram. Again, those words, kilograms, kilograms, cancels out, and you multiply straight across. 25,000 G over 1. Now, because it's over 1, we don't have to write over 1. That would be your answer. So some students get confused on whether you're multiplying or dividing. And in this case, really what you're doing is you're taking 345 divided by 60 to get that number. But here you're multiplying by 1,000 to get that number. So rather than trying to make you remember when to multiply and when to divide, this is a process that works for all of them. You set up your ratios, and you multiply straight across every time. 5 feet 3 inches, and we want to convert it to inches. Well, part of that's already done. The 3 inches is already done. So what if we can make 5 feet and figure out how many inches 5 feet is? So we're going to focus on this first. 5 feet over 1. Multiply it to another fraction, feet on top, feet on bottom. Feet on bottom, inches on top. 12 inches is 1 foot. So as we multiply across and cancel out those words feet, multiply across, that gives me 60 inches. So 5 feet is 60 inches. But we don't want to know what 5 feet is. We want to know what 5 feet 3 inches tall is. So this is 5 feet plus 3 inches. So we get a total of 63 inches. One more of these. We have 1350 centimeters over 1. We're going to multiply that to another fraction. Centimeters goes on the bottom, meters goes on top. The ratio of this is 1 meter, is 100 centimeters. As you multiply across and cancel those words out, you get 1350 m over 100, which means it's 13.5 meters. So 13.5 meters is the same as 1350 meters, or centimeters. A student ran a 50-yard dash in 5.8 seconds. At what speed did the student run in miles per hour? Okay, well we've got two things happening. We have yards and second. Yards is a distance, seconds is a time frame. So we're going to take those two things, we're not converting from yards to seconds, we're actually going to be converting both of them. So what we're going to do is make those into a fraction. It's really important, and especially in this one, that you're labeling it. So we do 50 yards in 5.8 seconds. So we put them on a football field, run half the football field, and put a stopwatch on them. But now we're trying to figure out how fast that is in miles per hour. If we were to put a car next to them, how fast is that car going? Well, if you look here, we're going to change it from yards to miles. And we're also going to change it from seconds to hours. So we're changing both of them. So let's focus on that yards and miles first. Changing it from yards to miles, we're going to have to multiply it to another fraction. Yards is on top, so yards goes on the bottom. Means miles is on top. The conversion to equal is 1760 yards is 1 mile. Okay, Okay, so we changed it from yards to miles. Now we also have to change it from seconds to hours. And you may not know how many seconds are in an hour. If you do, you can go ahead and write that conversion right now. But if you don't, here's what you could do. Seconds is on bottom, so seconds goes on top. You know how to change it from seconds to minutes, so we can start there. There's 60 seconds in 1 minute. Well, but we need it in hours, so we have to multiply it to another fraction. We changed it to minutes, so I'm going to change now from minutes, notice where I'm placing them, to hours. How many minutes equals how many hours? So 60 minutes is 1 hour. So we've changed it from yards to miles, and we've changed it from seconds to hours. Now there's a lot of stuff up there, so let's cancel some things out. The words can cancel out. Yards, yards. Seconds, seconds. And minutes, minutes. And look at the two words we're left with. Miles per hour. Multiply those straight across. 180,000. And that's miles over 10,208. And that's hours. So as you multiply across there, you get 10,208. Now that doesn't really tell us how fast that car is going, so what we're going to do is divide those two numbers. And as you divide them, you get 17.63. It's an estimation there. Miles per hour.